Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is TGIF Friday, and this is Seeking Sustainability Live number 16. And we have a very special guest with us today. We have Teresa. Welcome, Teresa.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And Teresa is owner, founder, entrepreneur of
Mhm.
an amazing vegan bakery in Okayama.
Yes,
Do you want to introduce yourself quickly? Go ahead.
sure. My name is Teresa, and I started this bakery I'm just now heading into my fifth year, so it's exactly 4 years. And it started off as a vegetarian sweets shop, but gradually I started making breads and more savory things, lunches, and then because more people were getting interested in vegan, I decided to just take you know, all of the milk and eggs or butter that I was using, with the relaxed vegetarian sort of style, and went completely vegan about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and then because of the interest in gluten-free. So a lot of gluten-free menus have also popped up here. About half of it is gluten-free, I'd say now.
Wow. Great. And your location, I've got the Google map right here.
Hmm.
So if people, once you open back up, are you closed right now during coronavirus or?
I am,
Yeah.
yes. And my hours are a bit scattered anyway, even without the coronavirus. But I am usually open on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a bigger presence kind of online.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple of online shops that I take orders from. And so I'm here in the evening and people come to pick things up, or I'm open during the weekend. Except, yes, right, I have been closed for the past month or so.
Yeah, it's a really difficult time for small businesses like yours. Really rooting for you. So
Oh,
hopefully,
yeah, thank you.
hopefully we can get you some more interest for your online shop. So the easiest place for people to find your shop would be through Facebook to make orders or through your website.
Yeah, they can contact me through Facebook. Unfortunately, it's not very organized. People are interested in what I have, but if they haven't already been regular customers, it's a little bit hard to make an order. So I'm hoping to get that more organized. I have a homepage that I hope to list everything. But I also, my online shop is through Base. I don't, are you familiar with that company?
No, BASE,
Yeah,
base.
see if you put it in English, it pops up. Um, there are a lot of shops, anybody can sell anything on there. I guess it's similar to Etsy or something like
Oh,
that.
okay, but for food.
Yeah, a lot of food, but not only food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of food. So that I update regularly, and it will say, exactly what it is. It's kind of a limited choice
Mm-hmm.
orders on there, but
And I saw through your Facebook page that you regularly teach classes. Have you done any online like baking classes or cooking classes?
I would love to do that. I have kind of in a fun way with friends and family in the States,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done like kids cooking classes and things like that. So, but yeah, I would love to do more of that.
I think,
Mhm.
I mean, now that it looks like coronavirus might be a problem kind of longer term, that, maybe like I talked to Clementine Sander. She's a sustainable fashion designer and she does online sewing classes. So before the class, like a week before, she'll send the materials and then they'll do the class together with her materials already cut up and ready for them. I wonder if something like that might work for you. Like if you
Yeah,
sent like a bag of all the ingredients that they would need and then you did the cooking class together like that. That might be kind of fun.
yeah, I think actually it's a really great idea because sending a list of ingredients to buy,
Mhm.
a lot of people maybe can't find everything, or you have to buy things in bulk sometimes for it not to be extremely expensive.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really great. I do make now cake kits,
Mm-hmm.
cake mixes,
Yep.
vegan chocolate cake and kinako cake. Um, so yeah, that would be fun to actually have design a class
Mm-hmm.
where sending off ingredients. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be really fun. And I
Mm.
think, we have to kind of think more creatively about how we can support small businesses. And I really like that idea that she had. So I think it could definitely be applied to other industries, other type of businesses. I love in this picture you teaching your class, you've got a bottle of Kahlua. Do you use do you use Kahlua in the recipe, or is that just to make the class more fun?
No, it's in the recipe. So, yeah, there are various flavor choices, that they can. So, Kahlua is a nice flavor. If you're into that, you can pop it in your chocolate cake or something. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's look at some of your amazing recipes and talk about how you make it and tell us a little bit about them. Let's see. Let's start with this banana cake that was on your Facebook page recently. Now, it looks like you're using a kind of cream. Is that like a soy
It
cream?
is. Yeah. Yeah. It's the soy cream that's 100% vegetable oil and soy milk.
Mm-hmm.
But it tastes pretty good, really. And you put some flavor. You could put a little Kahlua in there as well. Yeah,
We had our first comment. Motoyuki-san says, Kahlua, it would be more fun.
yeah, definitely.
I think
Yeah, you
so.
can always, to give a little to the cake, give a little to yourself. That's how that works.
This is another, it looks like a two-layer banana cream cake.
Yeah.
And you've got, I want to ask you about your plates
Hmm.
because you have these beautiful like vintage style plates. Are those your own or do you collect them or?
Yeah, I like to go to used shops, recycle shops, and I have a thing for plates, I guess, small dishes. So yeah.
That's great. Now, a lot of people, we just talked about soy being a replacement for the cream. So,
Mm.
soy and what other kind of replacements do you use instead of butter, for example, or instead of eggs?
Right. Yeah. So uh, basically, I don't make a lot of things with the cream. I try as much as possible not to um, use substitutes,
Mm-hmm.
as in I don't always try to recreate something and make it vegan. I
Mm-hmm.
do that sometimes. I have requests and I do it. But what I really like to do are find recipes that are already vegan to begin with, and you can kind of adapt them and play with them, or develop recipes that never need eggs or butter to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But that's being said, when adapting recipes, one of the easiest things to use is the coconut oil. But I have mixed feelings about that myself.
Mm-hmm. And
I
there's some people don't like the taste, like there's a certain taste. I use it sometimes too, and in some recipes, it seems to blend in fine and nobody notices it. And then another recipe is like, whoa, that's a bit strong, like the flavor of the coconut.
Yeah.
Just depends. There's a picture here. Now this looks absolutely amazing. Is
Mm.
that like a chocolate layer on the top and then like a coconut cream in the middle and chocolate on the bottom?
Yeah,
What's
it's kind of like a cheesecake sort of
uh-huh.
filling. So this is made with cashew nuts and it's got orange flavor in it. So it's like chocolate orange
Oh my
cheesecake
goodness.
kind of.
Now, of all the pictures I looked at to get ready for this talk, I
Mm.
would say this one might be the most difficult. But what is it hard to make this or is this one of the easier ones?
It's not difficult to make.
Uh-huh.
This falls into the raw category. I
Okay.
don't know if people, there are all sorts of different, food categories. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not baked.
Oh wow.
and you keep it in the freezer. So it's not something that you can like carry around for any length of time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would just take it out of the freezer for an hour or so before serving it. Or, kind of half frozen is good, soft is good. But it's expensive to make.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because I'm making a kind of cheese out of cashew nuts,
Mm-hmm.
and I use a probiotic that I make using brown rice.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
wow. So you're fermenting it yourself to make the, wow.
like a cashew cream cheese.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
that it is, like you said, it's raw, so it's not so hard to make, but maybe time consuming to make the ingredients. Is that right?
Yeah, very lots of different steps, time consuming, and then again, like cashews are not cheap,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of cashews in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this is a fun thing to make, but you wouldn't want to eat it every day either.
No, no, but the raw food, the whole raw food boom is massive in the States. I haven't heard so much about the raw food kind of boom happening in Japan, but definitely when I see vegan bakeries or vegan cafes, they often have a raw food option as well. So maybe it is more than I realize. Do your customers ask for raw food things?
Rarely, but
Uh-huh.
I have gotten that, and I don't advertise it. I don't say like I don't use that as a category in my shop,
Uh-huh.
but people who are interested in that will ask me.
Right.
Like they'll recognize it for what it is, kind of, and ask
Yeah.
if it is raw. So.
Susan has written a comment. Susan Miki, she said, delicious. Susan, you've had the pleasure of eating that. You're so lucky. You have a few Okayama local residents who I'm sure are big fans of your work.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. That's what
Yeah.
you need. Now, this one caught my eye just because it's so beautiful. The way you layered the different slices of strawberry around. So you've got a pie crust. Now, pie crust, how the heck do you make pie crust without butter? Or are you using like a margarine, or is that coconut butter? Am I
Yeah.
asking about too many
No,
secrets?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no. So, but I'll tell you, it's actually a problem. If I look at online recipes or shops similar to mine in the UK or the United States, and they put their recipes up there, they always say use vegan butter.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen vegan butter in Japan?
Yeah.
I've looked for
Well,
it.
we can get it at Costco now.
Costco. Okay, okay. I hardly go there, and the last time I went, I looked, but I didn't see it. But I make my own.
Oh, wow.
As I told you, I don't like the coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the flavor. I have their. I'm just not really sure about the reliance on that so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I make a kind of butter for baking that the base is cocoa butter,
Okay.
right? So, it's melted, I whip it and I mix it with oil. And you can use different oils, like a walnut oil or almond oil or even olive oil to make different
Okay.
flavors. And, you whip it. And so you get like little bricks of butter. And I put that in the freezer. And then when I want to make the pie crust, I just make it how you would a regular pie crust.
Yeah. That sounds better than even buying the vegan butter that even though I can get it and I'm happy I can get it, it comes in plastic tubs. And so, our family maybe once every 2 weeks would go through it. It's a big tub, but our family likes butter on toast or, butter in different baking recipes. So making your own, you would have less waste as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I put them in little ice cube trays and then pop them out of the trays and then wrap them in um, like parchment and then foil.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no plastic involved, which I
Wow.
like. Um,
Yeah, wonderful. So, I mean, besides the butter, the crust you have your own version of butter, so the crust is basically the same as a standard recipe. You just replace that part, right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just, your short crust, pastry. So it's just butter and I don't put eggs in there, just butter and flour and sugar,
And then
basically.
I have a cute picture. You made some Halloween cookies. Would that also be using that same butter alternative? The
No,
the
well, actually, those
ghost?
cookies are just made with oil.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Easy.
those cookies are gluten free. They're made with rice flour.
Nice.
They're made for elementary school,
Uh-huh.
not far from here. Every Halloween they order Halloween treats, and a lot of the kids have allergies and stuff. So
Oh, that's so sweet. I love the design. It's so cute.
thank you.
It must take a while to make a lot of cookies with all that
Yeah,
handmade design, right?
it's fun. Those colors are natural colors too, but they're vegetable colors.
We have another comment. Motoyuki-san says, must be yummy. Looks yummy. And Tomomi Harada says, wow, yummy. So we're making everybody hungry.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we want.
Mhm.
This is all about food. So let's talk about bread a little bit. I was surprised when I changed from vegetarian to vegan that bakeries in Japan, there's maybe half of the bakery items you can buy if you're vegetarian. But if you're vegan, there's basically maybe baguette. That would be it. One thing out of
Mhm.
all the selection. So if you don't use eggs, you don't use butter, you don't use milk, like a lot of the standard bread recipes abroad, they would be vegan, right? But in Japan, for some reason, they're using milk in almost every bread recipe. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
So you've got
You know,
this
margarine,
beautiful,
right?
yeah,
If you look on the back, margarine is pervasive. And if it's not margarine, it's butter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's margarine, I'm happy because then that means it's vegan. But then if I see margarine plus butter, then
Oh, right, right.
almost.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've got this beautiful loaf here. What's your standard bread recipe? Can you tell us?
It's very, very simple. It's flour and water, basically. That's what that is. So I do have some breads that the buns, especially for the burger buns, they need to stay softer and a little bit spongier, than a loaf.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do use the aquafaba, or the pronunciation on that. I'm not sure. Do you know what that, like the when you boil garbanzo beans, or actually any kind of beans, and the liquid that comes off of that, it has the saponin in it, which is it causes bubbles.
I have never heard of that.
So it's called aquafaba. Yeah, aquafaba. So aqua and then fava for bean, and so you can use it as an egg substitute in a lot of things. People are making meringues with it and stuff, but it tastes like beans to me, so I'm not real big on that. But it's really great in breads and some cakes, like a
Mm-hmm.
sponge cake with that in there. It makes
Okay.
it really spongy and nice.
That makes sense. You know what I've been trying recently because I've been using my bread machine every day. Nothing like the amazing breads that you have here, mind. Just a very standard vegan bread recipe. But instead of regular tap water or filtered water, I've been using the water from boiling potatoes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And amazing difference in how fluffy the bread becomes. And
Yes.
I had just heard that online and tried it. So I'm going to try that. What do you call it again? Aquafaba.
Aquafaba.
Okay. I'm going to try that. So when I boil beans and then use that water,
The liquid,
the
yeah. So,
liquid. Okay.
and you want to, and if you buy beans as well, the can or the box of beans that you get, you can use that liquid as well. But if you're boiling beans, just put a little bit of extra water in there, boil it a little bit longer, and you'll get like a kind of viscous liquid.
Okay.
And you should save that. I put it again in ice cube trays,
Oh,
and
man.
that ends up to be about 50 grams. So that's one egg.
Yep. That is a great tip. I often make lentil burgers. Can I use the water from the lentils as well?
Yeah, actually, almost any bean will work.
Okay.
They're a little bit different. You'll have to experiment with them, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow. Awesome. That's a great tip. And
Mm.
in the picture, we've got some really beautiful, like hard breads. You say Irish brown bread, soda bread. They look great.
Right. Yeah.
Are
And
you doing any sourdoughs? Sourdough is all the rage now.
Yeah, I do. I don't actually have a sourdough. I have a non. I have a gluten-free sourdough starter right
Mm-hmm.
now. It's a little bit hard to keep them both going. So anyway, the gluten-free sourdough starter is what I'm working on right now. But um, if people want sourdough, if they give me a week's notice, I can usually get the starter going. It's not one of those really long, really deep flavored ones, but I can make sourdough in a week usually.
Wow, that's awesome. And I mean, you have to, for the customers, you have to use some plastic wrapping. Have you tried any other like paper wrapping or wax paper or anything for your packaging? Or is it just too hard or too expensive?
Depends on what it is. But bread is easy to wrap in parchment. I usually just have a big sheet of parchment and kind of roll it and twist the ends for like a baguette style.
Mm-hmm.
Or I buy paper bags,
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of bigger size paper bag will fit one kind of loaf of bread in there. So as much as possible, I use paper, but for gifts,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like smaller things like cookies and muffins and brownies and that kind of thing. Most people want them packaged. I
Mm-hmm.
try to convince people, like maybe let's put three or four in one package, but the plastic looks nicer. You can see what's in
You can
it.
see what's in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Like even when I buy stuff at bakeries, I always tell them, "Oh, just put everything in together." Or if I have my own like a lined bag, like a thermal bag or something, and I'll just ask them to put it in directly, and it really freaks them out. But then I don't mind if it's sugary and salty together, and you know it's my bag, it's going to my house. But yeah, it's odd. And if you're buying for presents especially, I think people think of plastic as clean, and like you said, you can see inside of it. It's a big issue. I These rolls that you've done here, they look like ampan to me. Are they ampan? Do you have azuki bean inside?
There's nothing inside of those.
Oh, okay. They're
They're set
gorgeous.
together. I call them Tetris pan
Uh-huh.
because it's like Tetris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Three together. I love
Yeah.
that.
I do have a kind of stuffed bread, but it's not ampan. It's stuffed with a coconut cream. It's really good.
Oh man,
But,
that sounds really good. And then I love this picture. This is unique. You've got dog biscuits. You're
oh,
making,
for actual dogs.
yeah, for actual dogs.
Yeah.
So, is that part of your line? Because I think that would be really popular. People love their pets.
Yeah, I know. I want people to order these. I can punch the dog's name into them,
Oh,
or your child's name as well. But
so is
for
that Ivy? Is that dog's name Ivy? That's
dog's
so cute.
Ivy, and so I made
Oh,
her a few paws, and then dog biscuits with Ivy, her name stenciled on, or punched into it. So
how does the recipe for regular cookies and dog biscuits differ? Is there any different ingredient?
no sugar,
Okay. Yep.
right? And I use peanut butter instead of butter, right? Dogs love peanut butter, and other than that, it's basically the same.
Wow.
Some
Interesting.
people say they don't want their pet to have flour. If,
Oh,
if,
why
if
is?
it's okay, I use whole wheat flour.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want their dog to be gluten free for whatever reason, um, I make a gluten free version that's made with like starch and soba, flour.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do dogs have an allergy, like a gluten allergy or something?
Yeah, I don't know that much about dogs, unfortunately, but I think that there is something about wanting to be careful about whatever maybe it's I'm not sure what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
some people are concerned about the flour.
And they're vegan. The dog's biscuits also vegan.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean, vegan vegetarian dog food is a really big deal right now in America because a lot of people are changing to plant-based for themselves and then they feel strange about buying meat for their pets, right? So There's actually a bunch of really popular vegan vegetarian lines for pets.
Mm.
Cats, any cat treats that you're making?
I don't have any cat treats. I have cats, and I don't have cat.
Oh, yeah. Or, like special occasions, cat's birthday or something.
Yeah, I can make cake because I make dog birthday cakes.
Really?
It's like carrot cake, carrot, peanut butter,
Oh,
it's got vegetables in it, and little round cake with candle. So I think cats might like it too.
yeah, of course. Special.
I
Well,
don't know.
it's all about the Instagram post or the owner's perception of what the cat or dog loves, of course. Do you want to talk a little bit about setting up your business? Because I'm sure there was a lot of headaches and challenges there. But if somebody wanted to set up their own shop, I mean, would you recommend it? Is it too much of a headache, or how did you get started?
Um, well, you have to find a good place.
Yeah.
No, I kind of got lucky. This place isn't very expensive. It's near my house. It's just kind of central to everywhere I am, and so and it was a bakery, and they people moved out with everything still here. So I think that if I
Okay.
had to, um, like, I don't think I ever would have said, "Oh, here's an empty building. I'm going to start a bakery." Right? Because it's a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
But I have freezers, refrigerators, oven, you know, the display case, all of that was just here. They just left it. So big mixer.
How
So
about
that,
the ovens as well? They left it for you?
yeah,
Oh my
it's like
gosh.
one of those 3-tier ovens.
That is seriously lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Now
like
it's old, but
it was old, but it still works.
yes, yeah. One of the
Awesome.
freezers died on me. Um, but it's okay. There were two of them here. So, I'm so far everything's going okay. Yeah.
That's good. I don't think we've explained the name of your shop yet. Do you want to introduce it?
Sure. It's TereCoco, which my name is Teresa, so that's the Tere part, and then the Coco, which means here. So Teresa is here. I put my name in everything that I do.
I
So
love it. I love it. Nice and simple, easy to remember. And you've got in katakana at the top, friendly sweets.
right, friendly sweets. Yeah, because it was initially it was the idea was a cake shop, a sweet shop.
Have you ever used chia seeds as ingredient instead of eggs?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, and chia seeds are great too. I like to grind them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
it
I haven't
it
thought
makes
of grinding them. That's a good
yeah
idea.
grind them and before putting the water or the milk or whatever to make your egg because it gets thicker more quickly and then you're not running into them.
Mm-hmm.
No, because if you leave them
Uh,
whole, I mean, some people don't mind them, but you do like you get them in things, don't you? Those whole little sweets that pop in your mouth. So if you grind them, that won't happen.
right, yeah. Like I've been putting them into cookies.
Mm,
So soaking them in water first so they get thick, like kind of egg-like, right? And
mm,
then putting that in with the peanut butter and the other ingredients and making cookies that way. And my kids like it, but my daughter, it's exactly what you say. She notices it. She doesn't like the the texture of the
yeah,
chia seed, right?
yeah.
So grinding it, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, she'll never know if you just grind it. Like just put it in, small little, like just grind it up like you would a spice or something, and then put the water in it.
And it works the same way. It makes it kind of,
Yep.
do you say viscous?
Yeah,
Kind of
biscuit.
that, yeah.
Mm.
Susan says her chia pudding is fabulous.
Yeah, I'm really into chia pudding.
Awesome. How do you make it? Walk us through that.
So simple. Again, I grind it, but not as fine as I would if I were using it as an egg substitute. But I just have a small blender and like maybe a tablespoon of chia seed for a cup of soy milk. I use soy milk a lot. It's easy to get in Japan. It's safe
Mm-hmm.
here, so it's not expensive, and I love it. So soy milk, and then some kind of flavoring. I like cardamom, cinnamon. I'll throw nuts in there and grind them up with it. So almonds are good, and some sugar. Oh, brown sugar. The Okinawa
That
brown sugar.
sounds awesome. I didn't see any pictures of your pudding. How do you serve it? Like little containers or?
Little, so it's an accompaniment to the lunches. So I make lunches, and the dessert is often chia seed pudding.
Wow, awesome. Now you have a special treat for us today.
Yeah, a couple of things.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about it? Go ahead.
Well, where should we start? So I'll just show you first of all just this, because this doesn't really have a recipe, but oh, I don't know how to show.
Yeah, 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 great.
So
Perfect.
this is actually gluten-free bread, and I'm kind of proud of this one. I worked really
Wow.
hard at it. I think that a lot of people that would eat it wouldn't think that it was gluten-free, and it lasts a while, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
longer than other
How
stuff.
how do you make it gluten-free then? Is that rice flour?
There is some rice flour, a little bit of like the mochiko, so they're really like the sweet rice, but not very much. It's brown rice flour and garbanzo bean flour and soba flour. So like the garbanzo bean and the brown rice, and a lot of the times the gluten-free breads are just like starch, like just tapioca and white flour, and I just don't think they're that appetizing.
Mm-hmm.
So this also has teff in it. It has a bit of gluten-free oats, and uh, kiwi.
Where do you get your ingredients?
Well, all of that stuff that I just said, except there's some tapioca flour in there. That doesn't come from Okayama, but everything else does.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
the oats don't either.
Uh-huh.
Even like
Do you order anything from Alishan, Tengu?
yeah, I have in the past. I haven't for a while, but yes, I do. Mm. I try.
He was our SSL number 5
I saw that, yeah. And when I lived in Tokyo, I used to go to their place because I mean it's not real close to
in
Tokyo.
Saitama. Yeah,
So
I've never been. I'm
it's
jealous.
nice. They had parties there and stuff. You can sit out in the on the veranda, and they had music and
Yeah,
served food, and yeah, it's nice. I went there a few times.
it looks really nice. But that's amazing that you can get most of your ingredients in Okayama.
Yeah, Okayama is amazing. I feel like you can get anything here. And I kind of feel like if I can't get it, then I just won't use that.
Right.
I use something else. I use something that I can get here locally. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And so you've found some good places that'll, I mean, to sell to shops like yours, there should be a cheaper price than regular customers, right? Are you buying in
Yeah.
bulk or?
Well, yeah, I do buy bulk as much as possible. But, those places, they're not huge. They're not
Mm-hmm.
huge factories. So, if I were any bigger, like if I suddenly got really busy and got like thousands of, I would have to rethink,
Right. Yeah.
my supplies, which, would be unfortunate. But for now, it's nice. I have
Yeah.
what I need, and there's never been a problem.
That's great. So,
Yeah.
how long does it take you to make the bread? Can you make it in the same, like in the morning and it'll be ready in a couple hours, or do you have to leave it overnight to rise?
The TereCoco shoku pan, which is it's just like it's a whole wheat bread. It rises 3 times. That I can finish if I have to early in the morning and finish it in the evening. But I usually like to start it the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have 24 hours, I can finish it. And like I said, if somebody wants a sourdough type, that will take at least a week.
Wow.
This gluten-free bread takes 2 days.
Okay. Yeah.
With the fermentation. And I like to start off with, a fermentation like a flour and yeast, and mix and let it sit for like 12 hours or something, and
Mm-hmm.
start there. And then another. So if I hit 3 days is really the best
Yeah.
for hard bread.
Did you grow up in the States? You from the States?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you remember that commercial? Was it for Dunkin' Donuts? Time to make the donuts, and he's always waking up in the middle of the night. So,
Oh,
so I always wonder that for people who are bakers, like, do you have to wake up like crazy early hours to get things done when you're gonna open your
you
shop?
must have donuts for the morning people, for the morning rush. I think you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, bakeries in the States, it's a morning thing, isn't it? You people want to have, but Japan weren't you surprised when I first came to Japan? I was surprised that the bakeries didn't open until like late,
Yeah. That's
like
true, isn't it? Yeah.
days. Um,
That's
it's a
that's true. Like even Mr. Donut, the donut chain, I
mm,
think it doesn't open till 10, right?
yeah,
Usually.
it's an early morning. Like donuts in America, aren't they like 6 a.m. or
Oh
something?
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And so my first location in Japan, we were living in Kyushu, and not Dunkin' Donuts, Mr. Donut was around everywhere. It was the place you could go and have coffee, real coffee, without having to do a science experiment, like some of them do. And you could get free refills, but we were always waiting at the door for when they would open because we're like, we've been up wanting coffee for hours.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a different culture.
it is.
Yeah. Even Starbucks, right? They usually don't open before 9.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, so it's kind of yeah. It's just really different.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to show us
Yeah.
today?
So I'm. These are often on my. So I just swear. There we go.
Oh,
These are
wow. Look at that.
these are the muffin, and you said that it would be fun to tell people how to make things, and these
Yeah.
muffins are really really easy, and also this, which is I think is amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
little
wow. What is that?
So this is the most simple thing, the simple most simple delicious thing that you can ever make. It's just bread. So
Uh-huh.
if you have stale bread, bread, bananas, and coconut milk and
Okay.
sugar. Then if you want to put any other flavoring in there, like Kahlua or
Wow.
rum is actually really nice.
Can you walk us through it? How would you make it? So you put.
So simple. So if I have a whole loaf of my TereCoco shokupan, it's
Mm-hmm.
500. It's a loaf of bread. So basically, a whole loaf of bread. If you want to make a pan, like a 20-inch square pan of it. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have that much, you can also scale it down. But I usually make it like if I have a leftover loaf of bread. So loaf of bread, and you chop it up, and you can let it sit for a little while to get stale. Cut it into cubes. If your oven is warm, you can just stick it in there and get it a little crunchy on the outside. So a loaf of bread, a bunch of bananas. So this has probably 5 bananas in it, with the loaf of bread, about 5 bananas, and then a can and a half or so. It depends on your bread. Between 1 and 2 cans of coconut milk. And I like the Okinawa brown sugar, so I use that for my sweetener. And basically that's it. This comes from a recipe from Southeast Asia, and they use a lot of sesames in there. So I put sesames on the top, which are
Oh,
delicious.
wow. And
But
full of protein.
yeah,
Vegan protein and good calcium, is it? They have other good minerals.
yeah, sesame seeds are great, and it tastes really good with this. And so that's the basic recipe, and you can kind of play with it
Mm-hmm.
if you
So
want.
that's like a bread pudding type of
It
thing, is it?
is. That's basically what it is, but there's no eggs in there
Mm-hmm.
at all. You notice? So basically, you just put the bread in a bowl, and you pour the coconut milk over it. You can let it sit overnight if you want. I slice the bananas really thin. I even use a mandolin and kind of slice them the long way, very thin slices, and then pour some. I like rum. I pour rum over the bananas and let them sit for a little bit, and then whenever you're ready, it could be 20 minutes later or the next day. You would just put the bread mixture in the bottom of your pan, and layer of bananas, and then another layer of the bread, and then put the bananas on top, sprinkle with sesame seeds, and then bake it in a 190-degree oven for about 40 minutes.
Wow.
And that's for a 20, you know, it's like an 8 by, almost like an 8 by 8 inch or 20 centimeter square pan. And it's pretty easy to adjust. It's foolproof. If you don't get the ratio exactly, it doesn't really matter that much. But it is really, really delicious. It's so addictive. It's like a morning snack and before bedtime treat.
That sounds awesome. And I bet it fills your whole house with beautiful smells, right?
Yeah. So you can put coconut in here as well. I've done that. It's good. It's also good if you put a little bit some walnuts, but
Mm-hmm.
the plain one is delicious.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So that's your bread pudding, and then your bread recipe that you showed us before?
That gluten-free bread,
Uh-huh.
that's tricky.
Is it tricky? Okay,
Yeah.
you leave that one. Only tell us the easy ones.
Okay.
We'll leave all the hard stuff to you.
Yeah. I can tell you how I make it. It's got 10
Okay.
million ingredients in it, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
Just
the
tell
main,
us because I'm interested, yeah?
yeah. So it's, it has um, the brown rice, the mochiko, the um, tef, soba, garbanzo, all flours. And it has millet in it.
Oh, wow.
You can kind of see the millet. Um, Sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, chia seeds. So that's all in there. And it also has psyllium husk powder a
Oh,
little bit.
wow.
That's used as a binder.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you have to do with this
Where do you
is
get that from?
I ordered it online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it came from the States.
It's not gluten powder. That's different, is it?
Not gluten, no.
Psyllium.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a fiber, but it's used as a binder
Mm-hmm.
to hold to hold it together because there's yeast in here as well. So it does rise a little bit. So you make a sponge first, and the sponge has to ferment. But the garbanzo flour, a lot of garbanzo flour recipes, you need to ferment the flour because it's very bitter.
Okay.
So you make a sponge with the garbanzo flour for 12 hours, and then you mix in all the other flours and uh, so I used agave syrup because it's vegan. If you like honey, if you still use honey, it's really good with honey. Um, but you need that to help the yeast grow. There's some pectin in there,
So
and
that is that something you make from fruit yourself or?
oh, I don't. I buy it. I tried it with the making it from the fruit, but yeah, it's not something
It's
that
a
I can
long
do.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds like a crazy amount of ingredients.
It
That
is.
takes a long time to make even the ingredients. So much respect for making that recipe.
Well, I'm happy with this. It's the best gluten-free bread that I've had in Okayama. So
Yeah.
if anybody's interested.
Another funny commercial from my childhood as an American comes to mind. You know the mom who makes the Rice Krispie treats, and then before she takes it out to the family, she puts flour on her face to make it look like it was hard. You know?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember that one? And because it's so easy, but then to make it look like it was hard, she makes herself look tired. But that recipe is actually something that people should realize how hard it is to give you some respect because that's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of fun. It's a whole
Yeah.
long process. It's like several steps that are involved with it. So,
Wow, that's really fun. Susan says this is so informative. I
oh,
ha-
good.
I had no idea. We just eat it. She is very knowledgeable. That's so true, isn't it? But I like that there's some way now for your local loyal customers to know how hard you work.
Oh, they think I'm lazing around. I look on YouTube.
It's not that easy. Wow, crazy. Um, so you gave us maybe the easiest recipe, the bread pudding, and then maybe the hardest, right?
Yeah, one of the more complicated ones,
Yeah.
probably.
Do you have anything else to tell us about?
Um,
Do you have a favorite recipe that you just love making? It's really fun to make.
I like making pie.
Uh-huh.
And so the traditional pie with butter, I really, really like that. But when my shop went vegan, of course, I didn't want to use butter and was looking for a good alternative. And then I came up with that butter that I make. But I really, really like making pie crust,
Mm-hmm.
you
Is
know.
it the rolling that you like, or just
Um,
the process of it?
but yeah, the whole process. I like, you know, squishing that butter, or the fake butter and the flour together, and then putting it all together and rolling it out, and then having it come out of the oven.
Mm-hmm.
I really love pie,
It
but it's
has
not that
great
popular.
smell too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, pie's not a huge thing in Japan.
No. But I crave American pies so
Mm-hmm.
much. And yet, like you said, it's not really a big deal here. We
Mm-hmm.
have this one cafe in Hiroshima, and she makes amazing pecan pie,
Oh, wow.
Otis, and I always go there and have her pie. It's so rare to have nice, like American style pies. So I'll have
Yeah.
to drive to Okayama once you open again.
Yeah. Like like hot pie with ice cream. It's one of the
Oh,
best things in the world.
my gosh. Do you make ice cream? That's one of the things I really miss since I became vegan.
Yeah, I do make a kind of, it's not, I wouldn't really say ice cream, but something that's cold and sweet.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
I guess I can still have sherbet, but there's
Mm.
not much of it around. I wanted to show you a couple other bakeries, see if you knew them that I know of, which are also doing good vegan stuff. Do you know Oheso?
I feel
Oheso?
like I've heard of that. Where is that?
So Oheso Cafe is in Hiroshima. It's in the countryside of Hiroshima.
Yeah.
And it's run by a Spanish guy and a Japanese lady, and they fell in love in Italy as they were woofers working on organic farms together, and then opened up an old rural farmhouse and made their own Oheso Bakery. And he had a really interesting story talking about trying to convert the local people to like hard bread
Uh-huh.
because it's so different from Japanese bread. Have you had that? Because your bread is also a little bit hard, right?
Some of it is. The TereCoco shokupan is not hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's whole, it's almost 100% whole wheat. So it's a soft bread. You can make sandwich with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. But
Yeah.
yeah, hard bread. Sometimes people say I like hard bread, but then when they buy it, they actually don't.
Yeah.
So
It's just it's a different taste, right? And because he's Spanish, he's bringing European breads more, and he's really in the countryside, and he's able to sell these harder breads. So yeah, very interesting. He also makes amazing vegan pizza. So he has a sourdough bread, which is very famous, and he uses that for the base of the pizza. But he makes the cheese from like a coconut milk cheese. So it's more like a white sauce, the cheese.
oh,
But he also sells that online. I saw you had some pizzas as well. Do you have like a cheese version which is vegan? Do you
I
do? No.
don't put cheese on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really unusual to see something with cheese
Yeah.
for vegans. But yeah, so that was interesting.
It's delicious.
There's another small bakery in Yokogawa in Hiroshima called Sukimachi. So like moon village.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's run by a young woman, and it's all vegan. And I just discovered it recently, and I could not believe that everything was vegan. And it's very interesting. Did you hear that funny story from New Zealand about the pizzeria that was selling pizzas for years? And then all of a sudden they told their customers, you know what? All the things you think are pepperoni or sausage, well, that's vegan. We've been doing it like that for years and never told anybody, but they're like, why? Why should we? It's nobody asked. We didn't say it was meat. like,
Wow.
and they totally fooled people. Now, she said the same thing about her customers in Hiroshima, that they don't really realize it's vegan, and nobody ever asks specifically. And some people realize and they're like, oh, okay. But it very similar to your kind of cream cakes. She uses a soy cream,
Mm-hmm.
and she says those are really popular. And then some people actually say, oh, I love your cream cakes, but I'm really worried about cholesterol. And then she says, actually, it's made with soy cream. And then they're really happy because it's healthier.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah,
So
that's amazing. It looks great.
So I wanted to show you those two others that I know of to make you realize you're not alone,
Yeah.
that there are others, but what you're doing is very exceptional. I don't know of any others in Okayama. I know you guys have some good vegan cafes, but not really bakeries or cake shops, right?
No, not really. Not like that. Yeah. The cafes, right? There are a few around.
Yeah.
And I think I heard somewhere up north a little bit, there's like a vegan bakery that has sweets and stuff.
Oh
But
yeah.
I haven't been there yet. So,
Yeah.
mm,
It's fun, and I think people who aren't vegan, vegetarian don't realize how fun it is for someone who's trying to be plant-based to walk into a shop where they can choose anything,
yeah.
And I think if you aren't trying to follow plant-based, you kind of take that for granted, and then once you switch, you're like, I can't eat anything.
Yes.
Is there anything that are you actually following plant-based diet in your life or just at the bakery?
Well, I've been vegetarian for, like 30 years or more. So, but and but I'm not like a full on 100% vegan. I don't really eat cheese that much, although I will,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it's not something that I like buy on a regular basis. I don't really use eggs on my own, but though I will eat them if I'm out. So I guess when I'm cooking for myself, I don't, it's vegan, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that strict if I go to somebody's house or,
I think it's all about options, right? And what's available and trying not to make your life too hard. I totally totally get that. I mean, now that we're doing mostly stay at home, it's totally fine to be vegan. But like you, as a part of my job, if I have to go to a restaurant and all they can do is vegetarian or somebody puts an egg in, as long as it's not meat, I'm pretty happy to
yeah,
just
yeah,
it's not going to kill me, but I just try to make the better choices if I can.
yeah.
So,
The other thing, the way that I feel is like being able to make a choice, like to actually say like, oh, I'm vegan, like I'm limiting. It's such, it's a privilege.
yeah,
You know what
definitely.
I mean? So I'm not, you know, it's sort of like being really wealthy and then like it's you know what I mean? Like I can make a choice because of my
Exactly.
situation, and so I don't really see a point in like proselytizing or
No, no,
like
absolutely.
so um
Yeah. And I'm more focused on the sustainability part of it, right? So even if maybe these trousers are vegan, but they're made of plastic, I'm not going to choose them. I'm going to choose the secondhand, maybe it's leather, but it's secondhand, like for me, my choices are more guided by what's more sustainable. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like a privilege to just be vegan and then everybody's got to choose for themselves you know and make your own choice and make it meaningful for you in some way, right?
right, yeah,
And then like I was talking to a friend of mine who was in the restaurant business for a long time, and he said, I would be vegetarian, but I just don't want to have too much stress in my life. And I totally get that. I get that 100%, especially in Japan, it's hard.
yeah.
But did you hear about Mosburger? Big news about Mosburger yesterday.
They have vegan burger.
Yeah, they have a plant-based burger that was just launched. So I just tried it today.
Oh, and how was it?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like a garden burger, like a typical garden burger, but the fact that the bun is vegan, the dressing is vegan, everything about it is vegan is so unusual, and it's a big game changer for Japan, right? Because it's a chain all across the country.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Any of
More.
your favorites when you're out and about? What do you like to pick up?
Well, usually I go curry, or curry's the best, one of the best foods in the world, or Italian. I guess those are the go-tos, aren't they? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It's so hard.
I like that.
Yeah, I always like. Well, aside from really good restaurants, that make really excellent food, I tend to kind of like my own food.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Do
It's
you
not.
do you cook a lot at home
I try.
after baking all day?
Pretty simple. I like salads.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
It's like I was making cakes with my daughter this morning for her friend's birthday, and we were making it, and I said, "You got to taste it along the way to make sure." And she's like, "No, no, I'm not going to taste it till the end." I was like, "Uh-oh, yeah, it might be really bad then, You got to taste it, girl." So if anybody's wanting to start out and change some of their recipes to be vegan, what do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, well, the easiest thing to do, of course, is to choose things that are already vegan naturally, as I said. But then the chia seeds work really well as a substitute for eggs, even in most baked goods. And I recommend grinding them. It makes it a world of difference for the texture and the flavor. Um, if you don't mind margarine, of course, you can use margarine for butter. And if a lot of people say that the coconut oil is healthy, so you can get filtered coconut oil, which doesn't have the coconut flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it
Yeah.
works very similar to butter in things. Yeah, it's kind of depend. Like for baking, it's a little bit trickier, isn't it? Than if you're gonna cook,
Yeah.
or you could just like not cook eggs or not cook
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. And it's a lot of trial and error too with what works in your family, with what works with your appliances, right? Like we've got a waffle iron, and I used to put butter on the waffle iron before I made the waffles, and I realized that instead of margarine, instead of vegan butter, the best thing that works is the coconut oil, and
Oh,
it makes it nice and crispy, and it really doesn't stick. So it's like tried different things, nothing was working. Oh wow, this works really well. So
right.
every family situation is going to be a bit different too, right?
It is, yeah.
But if people are going shopping, what kind of ingredients should they pick up? I would say they need baking powder. Was one of the surprises for me, that you actually need more baking powder because
Mm.
you need things to rise. And then, is it apple cider vinegar is a good one to pick up, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if you're gonna make the classic, the chocolate vegan chocolate cake, right? Or the depression cake or the dump cake, it's a really simple chocolate cake that's been around forever. That has baking soda and the vinegar. So the soda and the vinegar has a reaction that causes it to rise.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need eggs to cause any volume.
Yeah. So I would say to buy alternatives, like you can buy the big pack of chia seeds. It doesn't cost too much, right? And it lasts you forever. Coconut oil at Costco, you can get a big one. I've seen it at other supermarkets as well, the coconut butter, coconut oil. And you talked about
Coconut oil.
coconut milk. That might be a bit hard to get. Can you get that at a supermarket?
Yeah, actually, you can find it at a lot of regular supermarkets in the curry section because Thai curry has gotten more popular and they use coconut
That's
milk.
right. Yeah.
But it's cheaper to buy, like a box of cans of coconut milk
Hmm.
or packs. Yeah. And yeah, so about the coconut oil. So Costco has organic coconut oil,
Hmm.
but it's not filtered. So it's coconut, the scent and the smell, it tastes like coconut. So if you want to get the unfiltered, like organic coconut oil, that's another search, but you can find that online.
I got the one from Costco and it comes in a giant jug. And then of course
Big jug,
it gets
yeah.
hard, right? And then you're like, "Oh no, it's hard." But you just melt it a little bit and it works
Right.
fine.
But it's summer, isn't it? In my house, it's runny in the summer and hard in the
Yeah,
winter.
yeah, same. So it's still a bit hard, but yeah, soon it'll be liquid. We have a few final comments. Louise Puppy said from Periscope, I'll watch the replay. I've missed some. Yeah,
Oh,
please watch the replay and you can catch all the great information again. And Jess Lifestyle says, Good morning from Lebanon. Wow, wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you
Wow.
for joining.
Lebanon has, there's lots of great food over there, isn't there? Lots of vegetarian or
Oh,
things that you
I'd
can
love to
cook.
go. Yeah. Is that the home of falafel
Yeah,
and
hummus.
pita bread and everything? Yeah, wonderful. Well, that's our hour is up. Any final words of advice or encouragement as a business owner, as a vegan chef?
Yeah, just experiment. It's
Yeah,
fun.
awesome. And if people want to find you, just we'll put the link below and then they can find TereCoco on Facebook or Google search or Google Maps if you type it in and then you can get the links to the website. So thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to join you.
That
It
was
was great.
awesome and so fun. Thank you for all your insights into the vegan baker world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's harder than I thought. It's much harder than I thought. Surprised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So respect to
Thank
you.
you so much.
When I buy your stuff from now on, I will respect it more, appreciate it more.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
great.
And thank you everybody for your wonderful comments and
Yeah.
for watching.
Yeah.
And this is the last one of this week, number 16. Teresa, thank you. And next week from Monday until Friday, we have every day 5 p.m. So please join us again for next week. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.